Hey guys, welcome to my podcast. My name is Jake Garcia, but you can also call me Lightwork. And today's podcast is called Coffee, the Worst Part of Waking Up. Now I know that sounds familiar. You probably heard coffee the best part of waking up, but today is the worst part of waking up. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna discuss this short story that I read called Coffee. It's by an author named Stuart Lifford. And just to give you a little brief overview, this is for a humanities class that I'm doing for the summer at Howard College in Big Spring, Texas. And for our projects, we have to do 4 different projects over different types of humanities, and they have to have a central theme. So my central theme and topic is domestic violence. Domestic violence is definitely important to me for numerous amounts of reasons. One, I've seen it personally growing up. It's never happened to me personally, but I've seen it with my mother. And I've also seen it with a bunch of friends that I have. I've seen it with my sister. It's just I've seen it way too often, so it means a lot to me. And another reason why it means a lot to me too, because I actually work at the Big Spring State Hospital. It's a psychiatric mental health hospital in Big Spring. I work there currently as a RN. I just graduated as a RN. And a lot of the patients we see, male and female, they've been victims of domestic violence, and it's very horrible. You read a lot of their stories, and they all have the same thing. They've been through sexual abuse, physical abuse, domestic violence, and it just spirals them down into a life of substance abuse, drug abuse, and you clearly see that they're trying to hide the pain that they dealt with. So it's a touchy subject for me. But again, the name of the story that we're going to be talking about is called Coffee. It's written by a guy named Stuart Lifford. And the interesting thing I found while researching Stuart Lifford is he's not even actually a consistent writer. He's actually a program director of video game design at the University of Hull in England. He actually just wrote this for a competition in college. It was a writing competition. So he wrote this about domestic violence. So just to give a little brief summary of the characters is a couple named Tina and her boyfriend Phil. And as you can tell from what I just said about domestic violence, that is the topic. Tina is being abused by Phil on a daily basis, pretty much. And he likes to drink a lot. He goes out, comes back, and he just beats the mess out of her, sexually assaults her, does all types of horrible stuff to her. So Tina, she wakes up and she makes Phil coffee every single morning. And it's not like in a coffee machine. She actually grounds the actual coffee. Like she beats it and grinds it and then adds the water and then makes him coffee. This is a daily thing. The setting of the story is in the apartment that they share. They're actually in England, so they refer to it as a flat. I know in America it's called an apartment, but in this story they call it a flat. So in the story, early in the morning while Tina is making Phil coffee, Phil's phone starts to ring, and it's a number that Tina doesn't recognize, so she answers it. And on the other end, it's a woman named Chantel. And Tina has no idea who Chantel is. And Chantel says, "Is Phil there?" And Tina says, "No, who is this?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just a friend. I just wanted to let him know that he left his wallet in my apartment." So Tina starts freaking out about that. She's like, "Why was he in this woman's apartment? Like, who is this woman? I don't even never even heard of her." But Tina, I feel like she has a little bit of conflict because she refuses to believe that Phil is cheating. So she has like a little internal conflict. She even tries to rationalize it by saying, "Well, he's an abuser. He likes to hit me. He's not a cheater." So there's a little bit of conflict going on within Tina's brain. She refuses to believe that Phil is cheating. She's in denial pretty much. So Phil wakes up. So she hides. Tina gives the phone back. Well, she hides the phone, and then Phil wakes up, and he's asking for the coffee, and then Tina finds the courage to confront him about Chantel, and Tina's surprised. Like he doesn't try to hide it. He just comes out and says that, "Yeah, I've been cheating on you." So Tina gets so upset, and the touching part of the story is Tina actually says, she says that all the times that she's been hit by Phil, all the times she's been abused, sexually abused, raped, that none of that compared to the pain of finding out that he was disloyal and that he was unfaithful and that he cheated on her. So at the end of the story, she got in such a rage because Phil wasn't even remorseful about it. He was pretty much taunting Tina. So Tina, she got the hot coffee and she threw it in Phil's face. And it was scorching hot, boiling, all in his eyes. He's screaming on the floor in pain. And to top it off, she hits him. She hits him upside the head with the coffee pot. And then the story ends by saying that Phil is just lying in a pool of blood and a pool of coffee. It doesn't say he dies, but it pretty much implicates that he did die. And then it says that Tina is just crying on the floor, balled up like a child. So, yeah, my initial thoughts about the story, I definitely knew it had to do with domestic violence because, of course, that's why I looked it up. But I was very shocked to find out that she killed him. I was not expecting that at all. I kind of don't know how I feel about that. I kind of wish it was a different ending. As far as symbolism, they don't allude to any symbolism, but if I can try to find something, I would try to say that maybe the coffee grounds, the way that they break, when in order to break down, the coffee grounds, you have to beat them and grind them until they're small enough that you can use them to create coffee. And I feel like that's what happened with Tina. Like, she was being grinded daily, she was being beaten daily. No pun intended, but she was being beaten daily, and she eventually broke. And she eventually yielded a product, and that product was rage and violence against Phil. And then she ended up killing them. So I think the symbolism would be, the grinding of the coffee was the grinding of Tina. She eventually broke and snapped and eventually killed Phil. So yeah, my initial thoughts was that. I wasn't too big of a fan of the ending, but I definitely understood her pain, which leads me to my last point, my recommendation. Would I recommend this to somebody? I would definitely be careful about recommending this piece to somebody, especially somebody currently going through domestic violence. And the reason why I say that is because at the end of the story, Tina killed him. And if you look at the details, it wasn't a self-defense situation. It wasn't a situation where she was in any imminent danger of being killed or being hurt. So if it went to court, she would probably go to jail because it was murder. It wasn't self-defense. So that's why I'm kind of iffy about recommending this to somebody, because I don't want to give them the impression that violence is okay. Because like I said, it wasn't a self-defense issue. She just killed him because he was taunting her and throwing it in her face that he was cheating on her. But overall, if I were to rate this piece, I would say it was a solid 7 out of 10. The author definitely has a good writing style. The way he described things, the way he painted the picture, it was definitely a good story. It kept you interested. The plot twist at the end is what probably prohibited this rating from being an 8. If it was an alternate ending, I probably would have it at 8. Like, I would have loved to have seen her, maybe escape the situation peacefully and maybe Phil going to jail, or, her seeking out help. Like, I definitely, don't want her to go to jail for committing murder herself. So that's what probably stopped this rating from being an 8 out of 10. But other than that, I think it was a very good story. I enjoyed it. If you would like to check it out, you can find it at medium.com. All you have to do is go to medium.com and search Stuart Lifford Coffee, and then it should pop up. But overall, it was a great story. Again, my theme is domestic violence. I'm just using this platform as an opportunity to spread awareness. And if anybody is, in that type of situation, I just hope and pray that they will get the help that they need. But again, my name is Jake Garcia from Howard College Humanities class. I am signing off. Thank you.